What's an immigrant doing posting about Canadian politics?
Well, Tim, I'm going to answer that in the comments section near the end of the video. Let's get on with the video. Hi everyone, welcome to Mother's Day special edition. Well, it's not special. it's Mother's Day and it's the Comment Sunday video. So what we'll do, we'll take a look at something that happened in Parliament this week in question time. Poilievre versus Trudeau, and then we'll swiftly move on to your comments and have a dabble with the comments. Yeah. Okay. So, in an odd mood today. Let's move on to Parliament.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost after 9 years. He's doubled the debt, doubled housing costs. He's increased spending by nearly 80%. What did we get for the money? The worst per person income growth in the entire G7 and the worst mortgage debt of all of those countries. When will he realize that the more he spends, the worse things get?
Well, he does have a point, because Trudeau has spent a lot of money. He's given out tons and tons of tax money, tax dollars, and we're plummeting into debt. Although he does keep saying, and he will say in a minute, oh, we're top of the G7, or we're really doing well in the G7. But groceries, fuel, housing, rent, it's all almost unaffordable for Canadians.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have been talking down the economy for a long time now without understanding that Canada has actually the strongest macroeconomic performance in the G7. And our perspective is to put that solid footing of the Government of Canada in service of Canadians by investing in housing, by investing in dental care, by investing in childcare, by investing in the supports that Canadians need in this difficult time. His solution is for governments to invest less in Canadians for ideological reasons, to be there less for people when they need it most.
Well, yeah, he says he's put all that money into housing and stuff, but there aren't houses being built. I've seen videos, and you've seen videos, of carpenters not working, red tape to go through to get houses built. It's not what's going on now, right? It's not working, is it? It's not working. And as Poilievre says, it's not worth the cost. Because what's not working is costing more. It's costing more not to work.
Mr. Speaker, more proof that this Prime Minister is not worth the cost. He tells Canadians they've never had it so good. He doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, forced 2 million people to a food bank. He brags that he spends $87 billion on housing programs, and what did it get us? Got us the worst housing inflation of any country in the G7, the second worst out of nearly 40 OECD countries. Why does he always spend the most to achieve the worst?
Right. Yeah, I forgot about the food banks. All those people going to the food banks, that's ridiculous. And yeah, he's right. Well, how can a government spend the most money of any other government that's ever been in charge of Canada, and also at the same time create the least housing, most expensive housing, no rental housing, the most expensive rental housing if you can get it, most expensive food, most expensive fuel? Everything costs more under Justin Trudeau.
Speaker, I think Canadians will take no lessons from a former housing minister who was in a government that didn't believe in investing in housing. Obviously, over decades, Mr. Speaker, the federal government had underinvested in housing, and it has led to the challenges we're facing now. That is why we are putting, and have been putting, in service of Canadians since 2017, the solid fiscal position of the federal government to invest in Canadians, to invest in communities, to invest in housing, to help solve this challenge that people are facing around the world, that we are solving despite...
Oh, come on, seriously. It starts to become a joke when he starts talking about how he's starting to invest now. He's had 9 years to sort Canada out, to make Canada into the greatest country it could be. We could be selling LNG abroad. We could be the richest country in the world. He's had 9 years to do all this, and he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything to help actual Canadians, working class Canadians. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. Exactly when is a good time to stop blaming Harper? He did it back in 2015.
Needless to say, things have changed. But Stephen Harper has not.
And he's doing it now.
Mr. Speaker, he's absolutely right that we did not waste the billions of dollars that he's now put into his programs. But here are the results. The average rent for a one-bedroom when I was housing minister was $973. And we built 80,000 apartment units at that low rate when I was minister. Now the cost has more than doubled. Meanwhile, Stats Canada reports that incomes are down $17,000 per family. Why are Canadians making $17,000 less to pay double the price for a home?
Oh yeah, there you go. When we were renting, we rented a 3-bedroom townhome with a parking space on the front, a tenant parking space, and also a space in an underground parking lot for $1,100. Yeah. So all I can say now is I'm glad I'm not renting, because I wouldn't be able to afford it. And yeah, I'm glad I bought a house while Harper was in charge, while houses were at a great price. And we were double thinking that as well when we bought a house back then. But yeah, you know what? Go with your gut feeling. Buy the house when it comes up. Buy the house that's right, at the right price, and just go grab it, because you never know what's going to happen in Canada. Canada is just crazy. It's a crazy country. So yeah, let's move on and go and look at the comments. So let's get on with the comments, okay? And yeah, there's a controversial comment amongst these comments. So, Poilievre drops a truth bomb. Yeah, Poilievre was talking about housing and whether or not somebody who builds a house can afford to buy a house. I don't think it's as much as can he afford to buy a house. Obviously, you can't just buy the house. It's whether or not somebody who builds a house can afford to take out a mortgage on a house. And no, most people can't. And like I said in a previous video, you'd need to earn over $140,000 a year Canadian to buy a house in Canada. Absolutely, yeah, crazy. Ron said,
Don't forget that the carbon tax has also increased the material costs of the home construction by an average of 30%, further putting more people out of the market for building homes.
Exactly, yeah. Charles says,
This is who runs our country, aside from the WEF, a failed drama teacher as PM, a failed journalist as a WEF board member and finance minister, a radical criminal activist as our environment minister, a foreign affairs minister who runs in the same circles as Trudeau, a transport minister who has been convicted 3 times for drinking and driving, and last but not least, an alliance formed with another party whose leader, Jagmeet Singh, supports terrorism against a friend and strategic ally. What could possibly go wrong? A big thank you to Golden Tiger.
Yeah, what could go wrong? We've got the top people. We've got the people who've trained for these positions. Don't forget, Jagmeet's also got ties with Metro, so let's just put this window up. A lot of cars today. Nobody's staying at home in their 15-minute homes. Bookshot says,
Since 2015, more immigrants have arrived to Canada than there are Atlantic Canadians. Housing prices have doubled.
Yeah, it's a simple thing of supply and demand, to be honest. That's why the houses are so expensive. It's an easy explanation as to why houses are hard to get. Also rentals. It's also an easy explanation as to why rentals is really difficult to get and really expensive. Levon says,
As a young electrician, I have rough in wires and finished over 1,000 units. Meanwhile, here I am dreaming of when I will be able to buy my own home.
Well, hopefully, Levon, one day you will be able to get your home. Murray says,
I am a carpenter, a journeyman with 20 years experience. I can't afford a home, let alone to rent. My question, who is going into the trades knowing this, and who will build all these promised homes? We are screwed.
I don't think it matters what job you do. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're in a profession, if you watch the video on Friday about how really Trudeau's let down the youth of today. 100% let them down. The youth of today who wanted to get the education and get up there and be the great earners that their families wanted them to be. There's no way that they can buy a house now. Absolutely no way. It's nutsoids. Trip Reviews said,
Do you remember what Henry Ford said to other industrialists who said he was nuts to pay the production workers so much money back when they built the Model T? He wants his workers to be able to afford the cars they build. Same thought should be held true today. Not trying to imply that Ford was an angel, but he was on track with that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Carpenters do get a good wage, $40 an hour if you can get that. It's not a bad, that's a good wage. It's more than I get. I don't get anywhere near that. And that's a good wage. I was just lucky that I bought my house during the Harper years and not during the Trudeau years. So my house was affordable at the time. Sane Man said,
In Australia, the median price for a house is $772,000. A carpenter on average earns $78,000. And you think that you've got it bad in Canada. Canadian dollar in Australia is worth $1.10.
So, wow, yeah. So what it used to be is that, I don't know if you guys remember, but it used to be that your home would cost you maybe 4 times more than your annual wage. And that would give you, so if you earned like 50,000, then you could probably afford a $200,000 home. But that math is well out the window. Michelle says,
Homes are too expensive, house building projects are shutting down, and carpenters are out of work.
I've seen a few videos of carpenters not working. E-Chart says,
Poilievre is a politician like every other politician who is in it for themselves. It's a power game among politicians. If you want change in your life, you'll have to make the changes that will improve your life. Governments won't do that, no matter what party is in charge.
But the more that you try and make your own life, the more that this Liberal government put roadblocks in the way to try and stop you from buying that house. It's a simple thing that the government are actually screwing over the citizens, while the citizens are trying to make life better for themselves. Douglas says,
I'm a carpenter in Vancouver. I've been in the trade since '73. I've seen a lot of boom and bust cycles in housing. Canada is a housing bubble of epic proportions. When this bubble pops, many folks will wind up owing more than what their home is worth. The market will collapse, and the richest investors and hedge funds will scoop it up, making home ownership unviable for even more working class Canadians. I don't think this can be fixed. The land of plenty will become the land of tenants.
People can't even afford to be tenants anymore. They can't afford, people are moving from tenants, from the homes that they're going to lose when they renew the mortgage, back to the parents' home, and then maybe helping the parents to pay for their home. Tim says,
What's an immigrant doing posting about Canadian politics?
What? What? I live here. I pay my taxes. Anyway, my answer was, I'm a Canadian citizen living in the GTA area. I paid thousands of dollars to get here with no free ride from Justin Trudeau. I choose to be here, pay my taxes, have my say. We share views here, and I give back on Sundays. That's why I do this show. That's why I do this channel. We share views and I give back. I can give an idea of immigration, housing and everything from when I moved here as an immigrant. I had to also pay for my health insurance when I first got in this country. I had to make sure I had a job to go to. I had to make sure I could support myself when I came over to this country. People who are coming over now, I can understand the immigrant thing about me, but I'm not part of the people who are coming over now. People who are coming over now, I look at it and I think, wow, you know, they get everything now. Everything. They get coats at the airport. They get put up in hotels. We had to pay for a hotel in Brampton. We had 4 weeks in a hotel when we first got here. We just had bags and a hotel and a 12-year-old kid. We were living out of a hotel until we could start my work and then find somewhere to rent. We did find somewhere to rent. Under Harper, we found somewhere that was affordable to rent. And under Harper, I came over here. It was a lot harder under Harper to get into this country. It's a lot easier now. Looking at everything. You know what else I had to do? I had to prove I could speak English. Yeah, born and bred in England, I had to prove that I could speak English. And okay, some people might say my English isn't great, but I had to prove that. And read and write English. Crazy. Craig, absolutely, yeah. Craig said,
Solution. Vote for Pierre and the Conservatives and not the wacko.
okay, let's move on to lockdown 2. I'm not saying it could be a lockdown, but it was Canadian Army preparing for lockdown 2? Question mark. Question mark. Disturbing army knocking on doors, shenanigans. Yeah, it was a strange thing. It was on Lynn's. I found that on Lynn's channel, and she's probably not watching this, but Lynn, congratulations, 1,000 subs. Boom, you got there. Awesome achievement.
Deeger said, I'm a veteran and my response would be F off.
I'm a veteran too, and my response would be very similar. Pat Lundberg said,
If this was under any other government besides Trudeau, it wouldn't be anywhere near as concerning. Trudeau must go.
The Slick Shady said,
Canada is getting scary. If communities don't come together and help each other, we will lose the rest of our freedoms. When the power goes out, and yes, it will go out, gather at libraries every Saturday at 9:30 a.m.
Thanks, Slick. Bobby said,
Planning to force Canadians to let migrants live in your house because Canadians are so sweet and kind and accommodating.
sorry. I never thought of that though when I was making the video. I never thought that they might be looking to see about maybe housing people, in a tent in the back garden, maybe. How big, because they were asking how many people live in your house and how many people, how big is your back garden? So I don't know. Odd questions. Marion said,
Should have said yes. Yes, I'm under distress. It's called Justin Trudeau. Go uphold your oath and deal with the domestic threat.
and then we move on to Friday's video. Landsman was destroyed by Freeland. I know we have Freeland on it, and you guys, I know you don't like listening to her, but I like Landsman. I think she's one of the best politicians on the Conservative side. Really good. I think we've got a lawnmower. It's absolutely. There we go. Should edit that out. I might do. Joseph says,
Justin, you have had 9 years to improve the country and you have literally destroyed Canada. All those first-time voters knacking back in 2015 that you managed to persuade to vote your way, you have ruined any chance of these young people ever owning a home or starting a family.
yeah, that's pretty much sums up everything that the Liberals have done since 2015. Pat Lundberg again.
It looks like Freeland is getting fat on the taxpayers' dime.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that because it's like a bit of fat shaming there. But yeah, she's that cycling's not helping much, is it? All that cycling she does all over Toronto, it's not really, it's not doing her any help at all. Rayner said,
Melissa Landsman could destroy a mountain just by speaking to it. She's stronger than a rock. Landsman deserves to be there, unlike the Liberals and the NDP. Ferrari had a very good speech in the House the other day. It was absolutely amazing. She even got good shots at Garretson. You have to see it. It was like a work of art.
I did actually get one of Michelle's videos. It's further back and on one of last week's clips, so take a look at that if you can. User said,
FF's sake. Contraceptives, I always have trouble with that word. Contraceptives are already free in Canada.
And another user said,
The biggest job the Liberals and the NDP government have is cashing their paychecks at the end of the month and travelling the country, telling their lying bull dollar poop to Canadians.
And let's finish off with Moose Rex.
Freeland is another Liberal wacko.
Thanks, Moose. Yeah, she is. What a wacko. They're all wackos. Jeez. Like you said, they've got criminals and drama teachers and journalists and yeah, we forgot about the transport minister having drunk driving charges, haven't we? Anyway, till next time.